What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Combat Sports Central. This week, we take a look at the weekend's main event, DEIVESON Figueiredo versus Joseph Benavidez. This weekend on Fight Island, once again, we will see a flyweight world title fight that will guarantee we will see a newly crowned flyweight champion by the end of the night. Figueiredo, who missed the mark on the scales last time under even more extraneous circumstances than last time, was able to hit the 125-pound weight limit for Fight Island this Saturday. And in the case that he repeats the octagon side of things and defeats Joseph Benavidez, he'll leave with a shiny new flyweight world title. On the other side of the octagon stands a pillar of the UFC flyweight division. We throw it back all the way to September 22nd of 2012. The 28-year-old Joseph Benavidez would make the finals of a flyweight tournament to crown the inaugural UFC flyweight champion. In that fight, he'd come up short against the 26-year-old Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, who'd go on to defend that title 11 consecutive times and put himself into the greatest fighter of all time discussions and reign on that division for almost a decade. But back to Benavidez, from that 2012 title shot to this day, he's been a top 3 flyweight basically the entire time. Amassing 11 total fights and 9 wins, it's been the title fights where Benavidez has not had the same success. Fighting for the strap 3 times previous, he'd come up short in all 3, being stopped 2 out of 3 before even seeing the 3rd round. In his most recent 2, he was stopped by both DEIVESON Figueiredo and Demetrius Johnson. On the line, in this fight, Benavidez hopes to move from the best fighters to never win a belt to world champion and number 2/number 3 flyweight in UFC history, with a serious argument to be number 2 over Henry Cejudo, who may have gone up and had success in other divisions, putting himself in pound-for-pound fighter rankings and pound-for-pound legacy, but doesn't have the long-serving resume that Benavidez has in the only fight between the two as well. Benavidez picked up a split decision win, so it's an open-ended question. But to add gold to Benavidez's resume and career, we'll have an open discussion once again, and it'll be a good discussion at that. On the other hand, Dos da Guerra, and the God of War, DEIVESON Figueiredo looks to right the wrongs of his last knockout of Benavidez. With the first fight successfully accomplished, unlike last time, he is now able and fully capable of winning the UFC flyweight title this Saturday night. In his last 14 fights, he's gone 13-1, 7-1 in the UFC, and reeled together 10 stoppage victories in that time. Of active flyweights, Benavidez holds basically every record, from total fights, total finishes, and total decisions, and more. However, on his heels with a fraction of the fights, Figueiredo sits on the active flyweight leaderboards at number 2 for stoppages, 1 behind Benavidez, and on total UFC finishes, again, 1 behind Joseph Benavidez. Striking, Benavidez and Figueiredo are tied in knockdowns landed at 6, while Figueiredo sits at number 1 in significant strike percentage, 52.5%, 17% above the number 10 Joseph Benavidez. There's a lot of records and flyweight statistics on the line for this title fight, and you add in the UFC World Flyweight title, there's a lot on the damn line. What's next? Say either Benavidez or DEIVESON Figueiredo end up leaving Saturday with the strap. In this segment, we look at what's next for each guy. For either, I think the next step, if both plan to fight again, is to start putting together a run against some of the top flyweight contenders and start stacking up title defenses. For Joseph Benavidez, we've been in the Joseph Benavidez era. You cannot say with a win Saturday night that we are starting the Benavidez era, or you are throwing away that 8 years of Benavidez' constant success. Although he never won a title, we're still in the Benavidez era. What sucks for Joseph Benavidez is concurrently we were living in the UFC Mighty Mouse flyweight era, and that, put up against any other era in UFC history, will stack up as will have an argument to be number 1. So keeping that in mind, if Benavidez is able to add gold to his already long-lasting legacy in the UFC flyweight division, we're going to have that conversation of him being the number 2 or number 3 flyweight of all time. So what can he do to start cementing himself in that position? Is start defending against UFC top contenders for the division. You got names like Brandon Moreno, Alexander Pantoja, who was brought in to replace Figueiredo if Figueiredo again missed weight. You have Pantoja's opponent, Askar Askarov, who with a win this weekend could easily argue to be put in a title fight against Joseph Benavidez. The only 2 options I don't think Benavidez should go is take on Josier Formiga or Alex Perez, as he's already has already successfully defeated both guys, and both in dominant finish fashion. So Joseph Benavidez should take on probably Pantoja. It doesn't require a call out. All you need to do in the post-fight press conference is talk about what you've put in to get to the position that he's in. He's put in 8 years of fighting. That just, it's so beautiful to see if we see Benavidez end up with a world championship at this long run. And there's also another big option is him winning the world title and retiring on the spot. I could see it happening. He's had a wonderful career. If that happens, goddamn, the flyweight division has just had horrible luck. Like at every turn, Henry Cejudo wins the belt, leaves. Demetrius Johnson wasn't selling, he leaves. Then you see Joseph Benavidez, another flyweight world title hopeful, another world title guy, another guy that's been here for 8 years, almost a decade, wins the belt and leaves. Although this division is stacked with up-and-coming guys, and I've never seen the conversation of the flyweight division being destroyed come out of Dana White's mouth, and that's really the only mouth that matters. The media can bring it up as much as they want. I don't give a fuck about them, but I don't think that it's a reasonable discussion to have to eliminate an entire division of guys, especially now where there's a ton of top contenders. And what that leads me to talk about is the beginning of the God of War era. If Deiveson Figueiredo wins, he's not leaving the division. This guy's 18-1 with a whole slew of fights that he could possibly take on going ahead into the future. Obviously, I think he should take flyweight title challengers. There's all the names I've already mentioned. So there's a long line of guys you could take on, a long line of up-and-comers looking for that UFC gold that the God of War could easily start putting together a ridiculously good and solid run of title defenses. But if I'm going to be specific for his next opponent, and if he wins the title, not only gracing the ring with being, oh my god, I'm so happy that we won the world title in his fashion, but call out Jussier Formiga. Formiga's the only loss on Figueiredo's record. It was a decision victory, and when you bring up legacies and guys that have lost once or twice, the George St. Pierre's come to mind. The biggest thing for them was coming back and avenging those losses. I wanted Henry Cejudo to do that with Joseph Benavidez. He decided not to go on to the bigger money fights, the bigger title fights in the future. But Deiveson Figueiredo has all the options at the UFC flyweight division, and I think Formiga, while we start seeing the flyweights start really cementing themselves as number one contenders, I think that Figueiredo could slip in there and get that win back to start off a long run of title defenses and a long and awesome era of the God of War. I think the God of War is going to win. And to be honest, with the fact that Benavidez could possibly retire this Saturday night, winning the title, or losing the title for that matter, I think that I want to see a world champion stay in the UFC flyweight division so we could just keep the God, so we can keep the mouth shut about ending the division. I don't want to see this division end. There's so many top challengers in it. So I'm just excited to see where we go after Saturday night for the division. But that'll do it for today's video, guys. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, remember to smash that like button and subscribe to Combat Sports Central for all things combat sport. Click that notification bell. You guys know what to do, but that'll do it again for this video, guys. Peace out.